Hello everyone, welcome back to another video here on Keep Running with BK. And if you follow along on the channel, you know that many of these videos I focus on a specific topic, and other times I just kind of go with what's going on in my own personal training and share any insights or lessons I'm learning as a part of that journey. And in today's video I'm going to be sharing a little bit of both, so stay tuned. We'll be right back right after this. Hello everyone, thanks again for tuning in to another video here on Keep Running with BK. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing if you find the conversation here interesting. I'd also encourage you to check out some of the other videos here on the channel. And if you are a longtime subscriber or a relatively new subscriber, welcome back. I appreciate your guys' support. I appreciate your comments, your thoughts, your encouragements, and your emails. I really appreciate those, and you guys help to keep me going. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing a little bit about the upcoming half marathon that I'll be running next week. I'll talk a little bit about how the 80-20 training block has been going, and I'll talk about just some of the things that I've experienced this past week as part of my training, which was not necessarily in the plans, but sometimes things come up and you've got to make a decision. Do you go with it or not? And we're going to talk about that here today. So first off, I am planning on running a half marathon next weekend. It's not going to be an official race. It's going to be just me going out and putting myself to the test, a personal time trial of sorts, similar to what I did back in April when I did my first 80-20 training block. And I am coming to the conclusion of my current or fall 80-20 training block, where 80% of my running was done very easy, and 20% of that was focused speed work, where I did repeats for a couple weeks, I did some intervals for a couple weeks, and I've done some tempo or threshold runs the past couple of weeks. And over most of this training block, I dedicated a certain number of miles as part of my long runs, where I was gradually lengthening the duration of harder running, targeting around marathon pace, maybe the half marathon pace that I'll be attempting to run next week. And we'll see how that goes. I think I came into this training block with the ambition or the hope that I would be able to knock off 20 to 30 seconds per mile, or to reduce my average pace by about 20 to 30 seconds from the half marathon time trial I ran in April. To be completely honest with you, I don't know how possible that's going to be. Based on the target training efforts for my speed work and utilizing the V.dot aerobic profiles that I've been talking about the past few weeks from Jack Daniel's running formula book, I should be able to run an average 7:30 pace for a half marathon and successfully reduce that average pace by about 25 seconds from the spring. But I'll tell you that my confidence level, where I'm feeling physically right now and mentally, I don't see myself being able to do that, and that's just me being honest. Physically, if all things were feeling great, that's probably possible. I don't know that my confidence level or my mental space is in that place. And I'll share a little bit more why I think that. During my long run this morning, I was on the struggle bus. I think I even tweeted out this morning, there are days where you wake up and you just don't know how you're going to do it, and that's okay sometimes. And there's other times you just have to get out the door and make it happen. That's what I did this morning, although I did make some adjustments as I was going. I was running and I just wasn't feeling it. I'm pretty sore right now. Again, I'll talk about why a little bit later in this video. And I was just, I wasn't sure if I was going to get past just the 4 to 5 mile warm-up that I had planned this morning. Good news is I pushed through that, and instead of running 5 hard miles, I ran 4 hard miles. I felt really good about those. And as I was running, I said, what would I give myself as a grade for how this 80-20 training block went? How would I grade myself on hitting the quality effort that I wanted to get out of those speed workouts? And I would probably give myself, during the run I said a B+, then I was like maybe a B-, and I think I landed somewhere on giving myself a B. The reason for that is, you know, when I was doing the repeats, there were times, as I shared in the videos, where I probably went into those workouts a little underprepared to measure the quality of them. Running when it was dark, not having a stopwatch, so I kind of had to go by gut feel, make adjustments after that first speed work, and then the following week implement what I learned from that first one, which went great and that worked, and I did nail the quality that I was looking for that second time after being a little under par, a little suboptimal for that first repeat workout. So I give myself a little ding there, but I feel great about how I approached it under those circumstances. By no means do I feel that was a failure or that sabotaged my training. I think it was a great lesson learned of we can learn from our training, apply those lessons learned, and we can see growth and benefit and staying on track with that. Another contributing factor to that grade was this past week I had an opportunity to get away with my wife and go with some friends to the Smoky Mountains, which is one of my favorite places in the world, for a much needed and unexpected vacation. It has been a long 3 years with the pandemic, with work, with other life responsibilities, and it was a much needed time away. It was a much needed, I mean, even some of the short trips that we've taken have always kind of had an element of responsibility, expectation, busyness to them. And this was really a time to get away, which wasn't ideal for the training plan. Knowing that this half marathon attempt was coming up, I stuck to the training plan. It was going great. I didn't really stick to the training plan this week. Part of that was due to the fact that being in the Smoky Mountains, being in the location that we were in, being the time of year when it was really dark in the mornings when I normally run, and we kind of had some plans to do some hikes in the park and other things during the day, it wasn't really conducive to staying focused on a training plan. And that could be discouraging, but I'm not discouraged, because sometimes life has to supersede training. I know, shocking, surprise, right? Here's a running channel, and you know, sometimes we can get so focused on the running aspect that we can neglect or forget that sometimes family, sometimes taking care of ourselves physically or for our own mental well-being, our own mental health, is of greater need. And that happens sometimes. We come up with plans, we pursue those plans as we should, and sometimes we're able to stay focused the entire time, but sometimes life gets in the way or things come up, and that needs to take precedence, and I'm okay with that. I think that's where I've grown as a person over nearly 40 years of running. Is there was a time in my life where my training would have superseded those things, and I would have lost sight of what was most important in life, being family, being relationships, being my own well-being, and so I had a great time with some friends, with my wife, just getting some time away, getting a little extra sleep, enjoying some great hikes, and I'm going to show some video of one of the runs that I got in during that trip, just to kind of show you some of the sights. So why don't we go ahead and do that right now. And then when we come back, I'll actually share with you some of the Strava mappings, if you will, of some of the hikes that we did. And so stay tuned, we'll be right back right after this. Yeah, so that was some of the sites where we were staying. I decided to make the most of an opportunity. We had just finished our second hike of the week, where we hiked up to Alum Cave, which is halfway up to Mount LeConte, the highest point in the Smokies. And I'll put up here on the screen kind of the terrain and the Strava mapping of that hike. You'll see it's a pretty steep peak up and down. Overall, it was a very comfortable hike for me. I think I really appreciate and really just reflected on the benefit of all this running training. I felt great. In fact, after our long hike there, I actually went for the run that the video footage I took showed, and as I'll put up on the screen here, you can see that was a pretty steep run in and of itself. It was pretty much up to the top of the hill or the mountain where we were staying, down to the bottom, and then back up. And that was immediately after we got back from the hike. That was a long day for my legs. My Achilles tendon was feeling it a little bit and talking to me. And as I mentioned earlier in the video, I think as a result of that steep climbing and then the steep run after that, my legs have been pretty sore. That climbing is a lot of strain on the hamstrings and glutes, even over a long period of time. Even if it felt comfortable, I felt it afterwards. But then even coming down, whether it's hiking or even running, those were quad busters. I've not done a lot of significant hill climbs or hill running over the past year because of my Achilles tendon challenges. I'm really not wanting to put it to the test because it's still not 100%, but I could feel it. And one of the things that I need to do a lot more of, as I've been struggling a bit since getting back, is there's a lot of still residual soreness and stiffness there. I've been doing a lot of foam rolling, a lot of massage gun this week and this weekend, and I'm sure into next week, as I will most likely keep it to very easy running to continue to flush out that lactic acid, flushing out and working out that stiffness, so that I can come into next weekend's half marathon as fresh as possible and give it my best effort to see what kind of time I can put in the books for this fall. And then I'll regroup and really think about what am I going to do the rest of this fall as the temperatures continue to drop and my body is telling me it needs some more recovery, rest, and I also need to do some maintenance stuff. And so we'll talk about that in a future video. But more than anything, I just wanted to share some thoughts that I've had this week with how my speed work went, sharing some of the challenges that I'm dealing with mentally as I deal with this soreness going into next weekend's half marathon attempt. I just wanted to share with you, although it disrupted my training plans, I thoroughly enjoyed being in my happy place there in the Smokies, being outdoors, being in nature, the sights, the sounds, the smells of being in the woods, seeing the colors change, hearing the water roaring, coming down the mountain, and just enjoying some great quality time with friends. Speaking of friends, I want to say thank you to all of you again for watching this video. I appreciate you guys checking out the channel, and if you enjoyed this, consider giving me a thumbs up, liking the video, and as always, I really enjoy sharing this time with you guys each and every week. And until next time, stay safe, train smart, and keep running. And we'll see you all here next week, right before the half marathon. Until then, bye now.